Good morning, everyone. My name is Emmanuel. I am the data analyst for the Influenza Death Project in the US. According to the data collected by the Center for Disease and Control, between 2009 and 17, over 600,000 people died as a result of influenza, in which the vulnerable population from age of 65 plus are the most affected. Let's look at the project overview. So we would start with the project motivation. The United States has an influenza season where more people than usual suffer from the flu. Some people, particularly those in vulnerable populations, develop serious complications and end up in the hospital. Hospitals and clinics need additional staff to adequately treat these extra patients. The medical staffing agency provides this temporary staff. Objective. The objective is to determine when to send staff and how many to each state. Project scope. The agency covers all hospitals in each of the 50 states of the United States, and the project will plan for the upcoming influenza season. Research hypothesis. If the state has higher populations of 65 plus, then there is higher risk of flu death. So let's delve into the presentation proper. Let's look at the data to see which population is actually affected by the flu. Moving on to the next slide. From here, we have the total number of deaths across states of the US between 2009 and 2017. And on the y-axis, you have all the states fully represented. And on the horizontal axis, you have the deaths in numbers. And let's look at the charts. From the charts, we can see that the state of California has the highest number of deaths recorded, a total of 57,162 deaths. And the next state to that is New York, and that is 44,215 deaths. So the next one to it is Texas, followed by Pennsylvania and Florida. So these are the top 5 states in terms of the number of deaths across the United States between the period in question. And moving on to the second chart, this is showing the influenza deaths by age group between 2009 and 17. On the y-axis, you have the deaths in number, and on the horizontal axis, you have the age group, and our focus basically is on the vulnerable people. So let's see for each state if truly we have this number more on the vulnerable population. So when you click on California, for example, you have for the vulnerable people from 65 years, according to the research hypothesis, we have about 7,160 deaths recorded for 65 plus age group in California. And if you look at 75 to 84, you have an increase, which is 13,000 plus. For 85 plus, you have, in fact, for 85 plus, it's doubled what we have from 75 to 84 years of age. So when you move to another state, which is New York, you have the same trend, 65 plus, having 5,317. As you can see, a double. When you look at the 75 to 84 years of age, you have 5,000. Here you have 10,000. And if you look at this also, you have it doubled as well. So let's check another state. Moving on to Texas, you can see the same trend play out all over the age group in each of these states. So we can safely say that the vulnerable people are the ones affected. by the flu across the states of the United States. So, moving on to the next slide, we want to look at the seasonality. When does flu actually start in the United States? So, from here, we can see the yearly number of deaths between 2009 and 2017. On the y-axis, you have the deaths recorded in number, and on the horizontal axis, you have the year from 2009 to 2017. And from the chart here, you can see from 2009, there is a kind of variation between 2009 to 2000, all through the year. Basically, there is from the charts, we can actually see that the highest deaths was recorded in 2015, and there was also a reduction in 2017. Looking at the second chart here, we have the monthly deaths between 2009 and 2017. Of course, on the y-axis, you have the deaths also recorded in numbers, and on the horizontal, you have the months from January to December. So when you look at the year 2009, you can see the deaths from January 6,000, February 63, and March there is an increase again of 6 by 300 from the previous month in February. So these 3 months basically represent the winter period. And if you move down the charts, you have from April, you can see a decrease in deaths between April and June. This month is actually the spring season, and if you come from here, you can see a decrease as well. This is the summer period, and here around here you have fall actually starts from October, which is in preparation basically to winter, because winter actually starts in December. So you have so the winter starts from December, and if you look at the death number here, you have about 6,004. If you go back to January, 6,006, you see a decrease here and an increase, which is the end of winter period in the US. So if you look at the next year, 2010, you see the same trend. See January, you see a decrease to February and an increase in March. And of course, if you come to December, which is 6,005, compared to January, which is 6,841 deaths, an increase. So let's look at another year. You see the same trend play out, the same trend, January, February, March, and of course, December 6,001. And if you come back to January, you see an increase. So let's look at the 2015, which has the highest number of deaths. Let's see if we have the same trend. And as you can see, we also have the same trend. From here in December, you have the 6,000. And of course, in January, you have the 11,372 deaths. This basically shows that there is seasonality. It is the flu is more prevalent in the months of December, January, February, and March. So basically, let's move on to the next slide to see where are staff mostly needed in the United States. So this slide is showing the death distribution across states between 2009 and 2017 for age group 65 plus. From here, you can see a checkbox for from the legend here. We can see 65 to 74 years of age, and from here from the legend here for this chart, for this map, this dark blue is showing the highest number of deaths in the chart. So if I can zoom this a bit, looking at California from the previous slides, the data has proven that California has the highest number of deaths. So in terms of age group as well, you have California being the highest number of deaths as well. From the previous slide, we also talked about New York being the second, okay, for the highest number of deaths. So in terms of age group as well, for 65 to 74, you have New York being the second state with 5,317 deaths compared to California 7,000. And we also have Texas, we have Florida, and we also have Pennsylvania. So this actually showed that these are the top 5 states where the vulnerable ones are the one dying in each of these states. So let's move on to the recommendation and conclusion. Okay, so from here, the data showed us the influenza peak season, and basically the peak season for influenza in the United States are December, January, February, and March. And of course, the data also showed us the elderly people are the one affected most, people from age of 65 upward. And of course, the data also showed us the top 5 states with highest number of deaths, and these are the top 5 states: California, New York, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Moving on to recommendation and conclusion. So let's go back a bit to look at the objective of this project. The objective of this project is to know where and who to send staff to, and in what number should they go. I mean, should they be deployed to each of these states? So basically, we need to send staff to the vulnerable age group of 65 plus, and this staff should also be sent to the top 5 states with the highest number of deaths, which is California, New York, Texas, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Moving on to next step. For me, I would recommend each of these states to create flu shot awareness from beginning of summer, and I would also recommend a flu shot should be made available between September and November before winter period, because we know from the data that the winter period actually starts in December. So it would be very great if the state can make the flu shot available between this period in preparation for the winter period in December. And lastly, I would also recommend more monthly monitoring of hospitalization rates due to influenza. I hope this insight is useful. If there is any question, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you for listening, and God bless. Bye.